Michelle Bella here with Andy Lopez, the Invisible Gardener, and we are going to talk about organic ant control.
That's right, Michelle. We're going to be talking about organic ant control today. So stick to the end because we have a very cool tip of the day for you to help you control your ants. And we're going to be covering as best as we can today about ant control, but we're doing as a series. This is going to be a regular series as part of our soil health. So everybody has an ant problem, stick around. We'll tell you how to deal with it.
Right. You wrote a book, Andy. Didn't you write a book called Dances with Ants and how to
That's right.
relocate them?
That's right. It's called Dances with Ants. The idea is not to kill them, right? The idea is not to kill them. That's the whole thing. We're taught kill the ants, kill those things, right? And that's not the idea. That's why I call it Dances with Ants.
So what do you do? How do you do that? How did you relocate my queen? I heard you have a conversation with the queen.
Well,
And
yes. Well,
how do you
and
do
there are lots of different ways to have a conversation, but I wanted to say we didn't relocate the ants. So you don't take the ants and you say, everybody go away. No, you have to, it's natural to have ants on your property. What you want them is to be you want to work with them. They want to be like your army, your warriors. They want to be on your side. So that's what we have to, that's why I call it Dances with Ants, because if you ever watched that movie, the guy did one thing, the wolf did something. So that's what we do. We do something, the ant do something, because ideally, you see, not that many people can talk to ants or to the queen, because you have to first acknowledge there's a living thing, there's a living being there. So as long as you acknowledge that, fine, you can talk to them. But if you're treating ants like they're non-living creatures, and you're never going to be able to talk to them. So from my experience, I've learned the way to get the attention of any creature, there's two ways. One, you kill them, right? Or you hurt them, or the other way, you feed them. So I prefer to feed the ants. I started doing what I call them ant cafes, the little bird houses. I put food in and give it to the ants. So there's a series of steps you want to do because the ants are highly organized creatures, very, very smart. They're a female-run organization, and that's to our advantage because you tell one ant, they all tell each other. That's the way it works. And
it?
so I've learned that they're really, really super smart. They're Mother Nature's janitors. They're doing nothing wrong. They're responding to what we're doing.
Yeah,
Basically, we're screwed.
your motto, work with Mother Nature instead of against her.
Exactly right. So their job is to recycle. Their job is, oh, it's time to recycle that. What?
What are you feeding the ants?
What do I feed the ants? Okay, well, um, I've learned that when you first start the process, you know the ants will be going in after your dog food, or you go in the kitchen after this. So you say, okay, well, that's what you want, fine. So now take some of that and put it outside in some container or something so they can start going out there. But at the same time, you have to tell them you don't want them to come in the house. So this is like a communications thing. You can't say, I don't want you in here. Here's your food, because they're going to look at you and go, and they do what they want because they're highly specialized. So what I've learned to do is you have to do two things at the same time. One, you have to see, well, first of all, long-term solution is really basically this. You have a problem with the soil. You don't have ant problems. You have a problem with soil. Secondly, you're really messy. You're messy in the house. You throw food around everywhere, food, sugar, all kinds of stuff everywhere. Yeah, the ants are going to go, oh, this is cool. This is a great source of food and water. So simply by cleaning up inside of the house, denying them any sources of food, you get their attention. They also come after water. So if you have a leak or something, a little bit of water, everything's dry. Yeah, they're going to be there with buckets of water, taking water back. So that's first thing you want to do is you want to clean up your environment. That's inside the house. Outside the house is an entirely different story. But inside the house, you want to say, okay, so I have ants. Ants are coming in the house. First, you have to figure out where they're coming in from. Oh, look, they're coming into this big hole over here. Secondly, you have to see where they're going in their house, where they're going after food and stuff like that. So then you have to, so this is a short-term solution is to get some immediate relief. So what you do is whatever food they're going after, but I've learned from experience, they really like honey. They will not eat anything with preservative in it. Okay, if you give them something with sugar and preservative, they won't eat it.
Honey?
Do what?
Fill up the ant cafes with honey. My
Right,
aunt's house, my house is spotless. There's no food anywhere, so they're
right,
not
exactly right. So, but I
my
don't really.
house. What do you do? What do you do? What are you putting in the ant cafes?
Okay, so in your place, I didn't have to use any ant cafes because in your case, I did. As I've been doing this forever, I've learned this. It's a really simple way to really control the ants. So that's what we use the microbes for. And places that are really bad that you have to
Oh, you mean the
control.
super seaweed? The
Uh,
super seaweed that you make?
yeah, the microbes that we use. See,
Microbial.
because the outside of the property, your case is really cool because you haven't been dumping chemicals and chemicals and chemicals and chemicals. So it
Yeah.
comes back fairly fast, fairly natural. But most places you go to, they've been dumping chemicals forever. And so if you were to put food out there, and trust me, I learned it from experience. Okay, I'm going to put food out there for the ants. Clean. There's like trillions and trillions of ants show up and take all the food away. You have to be feeding, and it doesn't do anything to them because there's so many of them, and they're already. So you have to kill them. You have to put it's boric acid you put in their food that they can't become immune to it, and you
Mix
kill
the
them. But
you mix the boric acid with the honey?
right, you do 1% boric acid. You can buy it in the store. Boric acid like an eye wash. Take 1%. You have to figure out what 1% is of the
Feeding
honey.
them and killing them.
Right. So yeah, right. So but after a while, I would have these dreams of you're killing way too many ants. This is not good. This is not what you want to do. You do not want to be known as the local ant killer. So
Right.
I've decided that what I would do is follow through, tell people clean up the inside of the house, clean up any trails that they would come into your house, learn how to use some simple things that you can spray. I love the Dr. Bronner soap, for example. They have the lavender, eucalyptus, almond. Very cool. You add a little bit of water to it. Vinegar alone works wonders in terms of
I
using
don't
that.
know what you did. I don't see any ants anymore.
No, so what I did was I
Bathroom, no
like I
more.
said,
Wood pump,
your place.
bedroom, they don't come anymore.
Right.
Uh,
Like I said, there in your place, it's really simple because we've been spraying the microbes now for how long now? At least a couple of years, right? More.
off and on.
Right. And so and recently we've been doing more often because I go take our machine there, we clean it out, we spray. So we're doing at least once a week. So the microbes are coming back faster and faster and faster than other places. So the more microbes in the soil, the more it controls the ants.
Right. Oh, so maybe the service that you do, the
Right.
spraying microbes is getting rid of the ants,
And
not
so
just
what
at
right.
cafe around here.
Right. And what I started doing was spraying specifically around the house and places where I know the ants, because we spray the whole property. But what I do is two things. One, I take, when you see me going around with a little thing spraying, well, that has microbes in it straight rather than diluting in water. When you get it from the worm juice, you have that in there. You put
That
that in
bottle
there.
has the skinny sprayer.
Yeah, and a little skinny sprayer, right. Plus I add a little Dr. Bronner soap to it.
What else is in there?
Well, I learned it's a soap mixture. I've learned from experience that you want to have something,
It's water.
right? It's
Boric.
water. It has the microbes in it, the worm juice. I also have the super seaweed in it, and then I have a couple other things which are not really secret. So I have the Dr. Earth. I have
Okay,
the
so
Dr.
you have
Bronner
your
soap.
kind of solution,
Right,
the microbes. And
right.
so it's not honey, it's not boric acid,
No,
it's just kind of the microbial, and you use that fine
yeah,
pointed sprayer and
right,
spray literally the perimeter of the house.
right. That's a concentrated. So it's a mixture of the
I used to get ants so bad that my walls would be black inside because I've never used chemicals for the ants.
I've seen that. Yes,
Doing that
I've seen
that
that. Yes.
anymore.
No,
You see,
so one of the ways we communicate with the ants are going, Your Majesty, something's happening, and we're attacked by these microbes are attacking us, and we have to sort of retreat because we can't be here. So the ants say, okay. Every time we go over there, we get because that's what happens when I spray their trails. The ants walk on it, they get the microbes on their bodies. They take it back to the colony, then they have a big problem,
uh,
and they don't like that. They say, wait a minute, Julie and Francisca and Harriet all died and their children died because the microbes will kill them. You see, right? So the ants will say, no, we will, because your ants are really coming from next door. Next door, they have a really bad problem over there. And major Antville, it will take forever because the gardeners use whatever chemicals or whatever's going on, next, what I'm talking about. And you have this massive trails coming over. They're not coming over as much now.
yeah.
No. So now that you're controlling your water too, because you less and less water. I tell people if your ants are wearing shorts and sunglasses, you're using too much water.
Is that why those citrus leaves were curling?
Exactly right. Exactly right. The leaves, what happens is that when any pests attack the plants, like the citrus, it's food for the bugs. And if it's food for the bugs, then that means that the plant is deficient in trace minerals. So overwatering tends to drown the microbes.
And what is the black on the leaves as well? Didn't you say that was from the ants?
Right. That's called sooty, Sooty mold.
Tutti mold.
Sooty mold, yes. And it comes from so what the ants do is the ants herd cattle. It's like a cattle. If you were to look out on the magnifying glass, you'll see this little, and so there could be anything from aphids, mealybugs. They all basically attack the plant and they produce a nectar. The ants gather that nectar, take it back to their colony. And here's what's weird about it. Ants do not clean up after themselves. So they leave a little bit of nectar everywhere, and a mold grows on that nectar.
That's incredible. You have so much great information, Andy. That's
And then
so
the plant can't process photosynthesis because that black stuff is on the leaves, and that's
right.
even more stress.
This tree hair and
Right, it's even more stress. And
yeah.
so just when I go to well, we went to our customer on Saturday, I've been telling him, okay, so we have to go over your watering. Because first thing I did, the first day we were there, I said, these citruses are getting too much water. They're getting too much. So you know where I live?
System, does he have it on different, like how I have different stations?
I have to go over with him. I hope he doesn't have all of them on the same
I know.
line because citrus.
Like the grapes and the citrus and the blueberries. I mean, there's so much food up there.
And so what you have to really do is you have to understand. Well, first of all, he got a whole property filtration system because of the chemicals that go in that water is what destroys the microbes.
He got your book, Don't Panic, It's Organic, which everyone should have. It's on Amazon. It's not expensive, and it's such a incredible book. He immediately bought that after the house call. I mean,
he did, and he loves it, and he loves it.
He's a smart man.
It's going to be people's Bible. The first one I did, you take it as a Bible, you write on it, and you
well, the other
notes.
Very successful man, he uses your old one because he keeps it in his pocket.
Yeah, that was a smaller version, right?
How to Heal the Earth in Your Spare Time, or
right? That was 1972.
And it's called something else.
The other one's called Natural Pest Control Alternatives to Chemicals for the Home and Garden. That's the one people use as a Bible because there's so much information on that one.
Still get that one as well on Amazon, right?
Right. They get it as a Kindle form, or we can have it. They can publish it. I'm in the process of updating it now so that I can include the latest and greatest information in there. That's the one that has all these different really, really cool tips on how to do it. The current one, Don't Panic, It's Organic, covers more of understanding the soil biology and how you can deal with pests and diseases that way.
And also the minerals in the fruit with that refractometer.
Right. I'm teaching you how to use a refractometer, right? And I tell them, walk around with it. And you know those tomatoes we tasted?
Oh my gosh.
What I wanted to do was to next time I was just bring my refractometer. I want him to use his refractometer so he can learn how to use it. But
they were the color of the butterfly coming out of your head.
But if you were to test the Brix of that tomato, because you saw how delicious and sweet it was, it must have been at least a 20. The Brix level will go bring. And so that's because these guys are cherry tomatoes are from Africa and they're more like very hardy and they can handle a variety of different things, more so than the other stuff, But it goes back down to whenever there's a soil and whenever there's a pest infestation, right? Then you have a soil problem. We're teaching people all diseases and pests are soil borne. Okay. You have a soil problem if you have these.
Greater the stress, bigger the pest.
Right.
So the stress of the soil is that right? Like if
the stress would be the stress of the plants that are sitting in the soil. They get so stressed out because they're not getting nutrition, for whatever it be. They're overwatering is the usual case, or not enough water, or they don't understand the value of trace minerals, how important trace minerals are. They're important to us, but they're also important to the plant, to the citrus. Usually what happens to the citrus, just so you know, when they have that, it's called leaf miner. You see the little trails on there, it's called leaf miner. And it's a calcium deficiency. How's that?
Deficiency?
The calcium deficiency. And
When,
calcium, and we're taught, we by other people when we go to the store, nitrogen is a number of things you need. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, right? This is what you need. Nitrogen. Well, without calcium, none of those will be available to the plant. And none of the other trace minerals would become available. Calcium is more important than almost anything. Cool, huh?
yeah.
That's why milk is so easy to a source of calcium.
So, but nitrogen is in chemical fertilizers.
Right.
What about calcium?
And chemical fertilizers, they usually don't have any of the calcium. If you notice those numbers on the chemical fertilizers, like 3 of them, some of them
Yeah.
may have some of calcium, potassium, phosphorus, but they may have a copper and they may have iron. They're not going to have calcium in there. They're not going to have this 96 different trace minerals you need. You see, and that's why, as I was talking to our friend there on Saturday, trace minerals.
You
It's very
mean it,
important,
right, which they get from the soil. If the
which they get
soil,
from the soil.
and
And
then test it with the refractometer to make sure that your food has all the minerals in it. Is that right?
when you use the refractometer, it basically tells you the sugar levels.
Which is
But
like the
well,
right.
but what I didn't discover it because pretty much all the farmers know that when they're testing the Brix level, they're also testing minerals. It's an obvious thing as you learn to grow. I didn't hear about it. I discovered it myself. I said, well, how does the trace minerals get into the plant? Well, it's photosynthesis. When I was in school, they taught me about photosynthesis, how the plant takes sun and into sugar. I said, oh, sugar must have something to do because that's why it changes into sugar. And what does the sugar have to do with anything? The sugar is what transfers the trace minerals throughout the plant. And the calcium is what allows you to make sugar, and calcium has a way to take the minerals and attach them to the sugar. So when it goes out the plant, they're getting their minerals.
Wow. Right.
Same thing in the human body. We need calcium in our bodies, not just for our bones, but to be able to absorb. Remember what did you say the other day? But it's not how what you take, is how what you absorb.
Not what you ingest, it's what you absorb.
There
That
you go.
calcium magnesium drink is really great thing to drink at night. It's called Calm, and
I
it's
do it
just
too.
magnesium, and it fuzzes up, and but we need that. Andy, this has been a wonderful, wonderful, informative show. Now everyone needs to go to your website, invisiblegardener.com, order your book, ask Andy any questions. We're doing free house calls, which is so incredible because Andy used to charge for those and now he's offering them free, and they could be done virtually or in your home. Right, Andy?
Yes, ma'am. I want to say one more thing because I told everybody I would give you a special tip of the day for ant control. So you need to learn to spray something in your house. You really need to do that because ants leave a trail, a little marker this way to food. And if you spray the right things, it covers those things, and the ants can't find it. And if you're clean, they won't find it. So I mentioned Dr. Bronner's soap. So it doesn't have to be Dr. Bronner's. Any natural Castile soap on the market will do. What I like about them is because they're made from herbs. So you have the advantage of the soap and herb, because soap and herbs have been a mainstay for organic farmers since organic farming started. They would make their own soap and use that in the garden. You right? So you learn how to use Castile soap inside the house. Go to a natural food place, look at any safe, clean soap, especially because these all will break down, and use them in the house. And you learn to have maybe 1 tablespoon to a sprayer, the minimum amount that you need to do, but you want to smell it. So that's why I like the lavender, the eucalyptus, almond.
Why not use just an essential oil in water so you don't get everything soapy inside your house?
So an essential oil is a heavy concentrate. and I started using essential oils a long time ago,
Butter.
but people are crazy. They don't just put a drop in a gallon because that's what you need. A drop of essential oil in a gallon of water is all you need. So these people who put a tablespoon or a splash in there, too much of that. One of the things that happens if you use lavender, it affects your hormone system. If you have children, it definitely affects their hormone system, their glands. It's way too toxic for most pets. If you have a cat, they smell that. That's too much. So it's okay. So I stopped telling people use essential oils because they go nuts. They do not know. Like our friend Leighton says, don't be a moron. Don't put more on. See, and that's what they do. So all you need is one drop. So essential oils are perfect to use. They have a wonderful variety of them. One drop in a gallon of water, and then you take that, you can spray that and wipe it. Yeah, it's very clean to do, and you don't have to with soap. You have to rinse it off. You have to somehow get the soap off. But that's why you also want to learn how to use the smallest amount of soap that you absolutely need to use.
My mother thought she was helping with the bugs, and she poured garlic salt all around, around
Well,
her bed.
there's two things you shouldn't
And
be.
they're going, why is it so sticky in here? And
There's two things you shouldn't be spraying in the house. That one
oh,
is the
God.
cold brew coffee, and the other one is garlic. Those two you don't want to spray in the house. Though
I like
perfect
the
outside.
idea of putting the garlic in your shoes to get rid of.
Yeah,
Like,
that's another story. How to get rid of
yeah,
mosquitoes and
next show coming
other
up.
creatures. So thank you guys for stopping by today. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next week, but we have all kinds of things coming up. Maybe even some guests coming up. Can you see what we're going to talk about next week?
I think we're going on to composting.
Cool, great. One of my favorite topics. We'll be talking how to make the world's best compost. Great.
Right.
Take care, everybody. Nice to see you. See you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, thank you for watching us. Please like us, share, and subscribe. Any comments, leave it in the comments below. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye now. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening to my show or watching it. See you next week. Remember, it's invisiblegardener.com. That's me, Invisible Gardener. Bye.